Stage. Hi everyone. Welcome. Welcome to WordUp September. I hope you've all had a great summer. It's good to see you again. Some new faces, some not so new faces. It's all good. It's great. Yeah, title for tonight is WordPress Gems for Devs. We'll hear a bit more about that later. Yeah, just to mention Freedom Works. We're back at Freedom Works this month, which is great. I don't really know what to say. It's a co-working space. They've been very kind and let us be here. Do you want to say a few words about Freedom Works?
Oh, hello everyone. You all met me downstairs. Well, yeah, thank you for coming. Yeah, we're Freedom Works, a co-working space. This is our 10th space and newest space in kind of the southeast area. So yeah, been open since February. We have a mix of private offices, but then also people who just come and use like a desk for a day, and then people who have more permanent like desks too. So yeah, we offer like loads of flexible packages, but apart from that, as well as that, sorry, we also do a lot of like community initiatives. So for example, holding events like this, and really putting a focus on getting our members to come out and speak to each other and mingle and, you know, work together ultimately. So we do like free beer Fridays, and then quarterly shared lunches as well. And we also work with Barclays Eagle Labs, who offer free business support as well. So yeah, we're all about that community stuff. But yeah, thank you for coming.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Silicon Brighton. Should I get you up here for that, Charlie? That's quite loud. That's something quite loud.
I turned you up a little bit. I knew I was coming. Thank you very much, Paul. And yeah, thank you, Maya, and thank you, Freedom Works, for having us as well. I'm Charlie. For those who haven't met, I work with Silicon Brighton. We're the host of Brighton and Hove's tech sector, and we have a great time supporting over 30 different meetup groups in the tech and digital sector across the city, including WordUp Brighton, who we love very much. All the events that we run are free to join. They're available to people who are at all levels of their career, and they're all hybrid. So obviously all of you are in the room here, but we're also running a live stream. Hello, anyone who's watching on YouTube. There you go. He's seen you there. And that means there's a video of the event that goes on YouTube afterwards as well, which is pretty sick. All the work we do is only possible through the help of our amazing supporters, who you can see here. If there's a company who you know who might be interested in supporting us that you can't see on this list, please point them in our direction. And I want to give a special shout out and thanks as well to our sponsors, University of Sussex Business School, Plus Accounting, Octopus Energy, James Chase, and Hyperion Dev. These guys play a really pivotal part enabling us to do the work that we do, and we'd be lost without them. And we'd also be lost without the small army of people who help us do what we do, like Paul and the different meetup organizers, all the volunteers who come and help us do events, and speakers who come and give talks. The list goes on. And if you have any interest in coming and getting involved further, or doing a talk, or helping set anything up, then please come and chat with me, or contact us online, or just get involved, get stuck in. Really, we really appreciate it. You know, the community is not anything without the people who make it what it is. So I'll let you read through these whilst I'm blabbing on. These are our values, and we look to uphold these in all of the work that we do. The most important thing is that if you feel these aren't being upheld at any point, please let us know, because we will sort that out immediately. We're at Silicon Brighton, all across the socials, everything on the internet. And after August off, taking a break and doing some planning, getting ready for 2025 and beyond, and the rest of this year as well, which we've got to get done. We're back to events. Literally, this is our first meetup event back today. It feels good to be back. Tomorrow night is Brighton AI, and also Brighton Blockchain are going to the pub, and then Asyncs on Thursday night, and then next week Tech Jumpstart as well. It's basically like 2 or 3 events a week from now till Christmas or till December. So get stuck in, come see us. It'll be a great time. If you're not on our Slack community, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Scan this QR code. Please get on it. There's loads of different stuff. There's a WordUp channel. There's just loads of different stuff going on. It's a great place to connect with people, share resources. It's brilliant. Get in there. And I should say as well that all of this stuff is on our website and also at the links in our Instagram page as well. You guys got that? There we go. Nice one. I love it when people actually scan the QR codes. We usually have them in here and it's like, yeah, go on, do that. And then when people actually do it, it's like, fair play. Love that. Makes it all worth it. Thank you. And that's me. I'm going to give back to Paul. Thank you very much. Enjoy the event. Bell me if you need anything. Have a great night. Cheers.
Right. There's going to be something about this in a minute, my appalling design skills, but you might have noticed that we've got some pizza and beer this evening. And that is because I met a guy called Ollie at WordCamp Whitley Bay, and he's from Nimbus Hosting, which we were chatting about it. They do eco-friendly green web hosting, basically. And I was like, oh, that's great, because we had this talk from Tommy last time from Wholegrain, and he was like, oh, I know Wholegrain, we work with them. And then I was like, do you sponsor events? And he said, yeah, actually I do. And I was like, brilliant. So thanks to them, we are, being refreshed with pizza and drinks tonight. So do go and check them out. And they have sent Liam down here as well to talk to you. If you've got any hosting needs, then do check them out, because then they'll probably continue to buy us more pizza, which will be great. And yeah, QR code. They're at nimbushosting.co.uk. Go and visit them. There you go. This is my design help slide. Please, for the love. I really, really need some help from a designer, basically. We've got this old branding, which we shouldn't really be using, which is like the WordPress logo. We can get away with it because we're a community group, but it's not very inspiring. And I'm very annoyed that I haven't got a website to send people to, basically, when I talk about the meetup group. So please, tell your friends, get somebody to get in touch with me. I'm on sabbatical from work at the moment, and I want to build a website before I have to go back to work. Please talk to me. Send people my way. This is the only real way. There's the Silicon Brighton Slack. We've got the WordPress UK Slack, which has also got a Brighton meetup channel. So we're kind of spread out all over the web at the moment, and that's not particularly great. And of course, I think you're probably all part of the meetup group, but if you're not, then go to meetup.com WordUp Brighton, because that's where all the events get announced and stuff. I think that's it. Right. Now, I spoke at PHP Sussex a few months ago, and while I was there, Jarek had been to PHP London and seen Milana speak, and he said, "Oh, I should put you in touch. I think she'd be really good to speak there." And then I was like, "Oh, right, okay, that's great. Yeah, and she's in London." And it's like, no, she lives in Serbia. And I was like, that's a bit of a problem. But then when we got together with Silicon Brighton, I remembered that we'd done. I'd been to an event, Async, where somebody had been presenting from South America somewhere, and it worked really well, because you had a nice live audience with questions and stuff. So I thought, yeah, maybe we can do that, and it's. I'm happy to say, we pulled it off, and Milana is here. Milana is a prolific WordPress developer. She works for Toptal, XWP. She's helped organize various WordCamps and other events, and spoken at many of them as well, including PHP events that I've just been mentioning. And she's going to talk to us about some of the new WordPress gems for developers tonight. So I'm going to bring her on. Hang on. Does that work?
Hi.
Hi, Milana. Hi.
Hi.
That's brilliant. So I'm not mentioning your surname because I've heard
Yeah,
that
you're
we
probably
pronounce it wrong.
saying it wrong. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Tap.
it's
Yeah.
Tap, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I just shied
yes.
away from it completely. So okay,
That's fine. Yeah.
I'll hand over to you now, and you can take it away. That'd be great. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
brilliant. Thanks, Milana.
Okay, so can I see if I have slides there? Okay, there we go. So when we talk about new features in software, in my mind, it's usually a discussion about problems we want to solve. In WordPress, that's not always the case. Looking at the changelog for the WordPress in past several years, except for the significant performance improvements, I saw a lot of nice to haves and not so many problems solved. And it's like, do they know that WordPress has problems? And the duotone filter is not going to fix any of them. However, recent releases started bringing small portions of problem solvers. And some of these portions are so small that their significance in a bigger picture can easily go unnoticed. And my intention today is to make sure that you notice them because they might just solve one of your problems. Speaking of which, back in March 2023, we had a problem. I was on a project and the task was to remove nofollow. Hold on. To remove nofollow attribute from all internal links. Now, the first question is, why do internal links even have nofollow attribute, right? Well, funny story. It's a big project. It's enterprise client in publishing industry, and they have like 10 articles daily for years. And over the years, they had many different authors and somewhat loose linking control in editorial process. And this resulted in several different variants of internal links. And were found, which is just one part of the problem. Now, only one of these is in home URL settings, which brings us to the second part of the problem. And that is that there is a plugin that adds a nofollow attribute to links that don't match the string in settings for home URL. So we ended up with a lot of internal links not to be followed. To make things complicated, being in publishing industry, this client had a lot of advertisement content, which meant that in some parts of the website, some of the external links were also should be without nofollow attribute. In some cases, it was just one article. In other cases, the whole website. And at the moment when we started working on this problem, all the external links were set properly. With or without nofollow attribute. So our task was only to work on it, only to fix internal links and not touch anything else. So when we think about filtering large amount of content and searching for a specific pattern, the first thing that comes to mind is regex, right? Now, I'm a fully educated classical musician, and this is something not many people know, but classical musicians actually understand regex. Like playing the instrument makes some kind of connection in a brain that makes regex logical. And I bet that now all musicians in the audience are like, really? I didn't know. Well, I wish. I mean, look at this. This is obviously a creation of extraterrestrials with a mean intention to make fun of humans. So no, I don't understand it. And we didn't use that. We used something completely different. So here I'm going to show you, I have one local WordPress install, and it's the latest version. It's 6.6.1, but I have installed the 2022 theme. And the reason is because this is the last theme that uses style CSS for actual styling. So I added this. I added this part with no follow attribute. And I also world post, so you can see here, 3 links are going to be actual external links, and these 4 links here are internal links, but only this one matches what is in settings. So I manually added the no follow rel attribute to all of them, and now we have kind of simplified replica of the problem that we had in our project. So now I'm going to show you how we fixed it. So first, I'm going to create a plugin where our functionality will live, and I'm going to use WP CLI because it's fast, it's fun. So whenever you don't know which parameters you need, just type prompt, and it will prompt you with all the parameters. So I'm going to call it WP gems. Name not important. Okay, gems. Description, we don't have a time. Author, let's say WP community. Why not? URI, that's no. Provider, activate, yes. Network, don't have force nothing to override. Okay, so we have a plugin, and I love how fast this is. Like, there's nothing to be WP CLI. Here. And first thing to write, I don't know why this is not default, but I'm gonna add it. If not defined, you don't want this file to be accessed directly, so absolute path and okay, start writing the code for the plugin. And what I care about here is just this content. So I don't care about these links. We're just working on this, and that means that I will add the filter. Add filter. The content. And if you're not using namespaces, always prefix your functions, remove no follow internal. Okay, now we have our callback name, and we are going to write it now. We're going to pass the content, return the string, and make sure that we are returning content for now. So everything is set now. Nothing should be changed from what we already have. And introduce you to an HTML tag processor, which is the solution that we chose instead of regex. Tag processor is a core class used to modify attributes in HTML documents for tag matching query. This means we give it a string, and then it will look for the tag that we want, and then it will change the attributes to those tags. And what we want is to modify the rel tag for all anchor tags with internal links. So first thing I'm gonna do is instantiate, and I'm going to pass our content. So this is how it goes. Find all anchors, and then filter internal links, and then remove rel attributes, and then filtered HTML. Okay, this is just for me. I like to write it down like this steps so I don't forget something. The first example here, if next tag is option, so this means that it will stop searching when it finds the first option tag, and I don't want that. I want to loop through the whole content, so I have a while loop here, and this is what we want. We want tags next tag. Let me see if I can select it. So next tag is returning Boolean. So as long as it finds any HTML tag, it will return true. And now here we want to find all anchors. And luckily, this example is wonderful. It has this method get tag. Get tag is going to return a string of caps, and I don't know why. I didn't have a time to add. So what we want is to return all the tags, all the anchors. Okay, that's done. Then we want to filter all the internal links. Well, how do we differentiate internal links then from external? By the so I'm gonna look for href, and that means we need to find the attribute that is href. This example has almost everything we need. So instead of data style, I'm going to say href. Have all the hrefs of all the anchors. We are going to filter them by the by our home URL. So I'm gonna say if string contains, and first parameter is the string, so it's href. You have to type correctly, otherwise it doesn't work. And the domain is wp-gems.loc. Now, you might ask, what about all those variants? Well, for this example, those variants are really not important. We solved them here in this place before we even instantiated the processor. So it's not really important for this example that we have. Important thing is that at this point we have them all unified, and we had one unified string to represent what we wanted to look for. So now when we have all the internal links, we want to remove the rel attribute. And I love when you write it like that in code. When you write comments, you actually almost code it and you know what to search for. So this is what I want. Remove attribute. And the attribute is going to be rel. Now you can do other things, you know, you can modify it, you can do stuff, but we didn't want to modify, we just wanted to remove it completely. And now we have to return the filtered HTML. Now, however, this documentation is magnificent. Author of the processor did amazing job. He didn't put the example for returning the HTML processed, and that's why we are going to go here down. Here we have methods, and you see the ones I opened, and here it is. It's get updated HTML, and I'm gonna open it in new tab because I copy pasted everything, and this is my career, just copy pasting from the documentation. We don't want to spoil anything by typing, right? Okay. Will I manage? Okay. And now what we are going to return here is tags and get updated HTML, right? So if we go back here, if we made it, what should happen when we reload? These 4 links should all be without highlighted background, and these 3 should remain, and I'm going to reload, and it's worked. Great. Now another thing that I don't like here, I don't like that this is hard-coded. It's like not usable at all for you know, any other instance of WordPress than this. So I want to change that to make it dynamic. So we're gonna say home URL host, and it's gonna be parse URL. The first parameter is the URL that we are parsing, so it's get home URL, and the second parameter is component of the URL, and that's going to be PHP URL host. So this should return exactly the same string that we used here, and I'm going to check that now. When we refresh, it should stay the same. It's a bit slower, but it's working. Okay, so this is now a piece of code that you understand, that you can control, that you will understand after 6 months when seeing it. So let's talk about what is the HTML processor. It's built by Dennis Snell. It was built as an idea to modify blocks markup with PHP, and really it doesn't really matter what it is. Is it Gutenberg? It's completely Gutenberg agnostic. Nobody cares. As you saw, it will take the string, and if it finds any kind of HTML, it will process it. And when I say any kind, I really mean any kind of HTML. And you might not know this, but browser has an amazing ability to convert what we would consider as a bad markup to a valid HTML, and this is 100% true. This is not like musicians understand regex. This is true. This is all valid HTML. I copy pasted this from Dennis's slides from his workshop. Can you tell this photo that it's taken before he started working on this processor? I mean, how unaware he is of all the forms of valid HTML. So it is built completely custom from zero, starting with HTML standards, which means that the parser will never be surprised by the HTML it receives, but rather it will support the HTML we probably will never see in our lives. And what problem does it solve? Well, this little piece of code actually makes manipulation of HTML faster, easier, and more control. And as far as I saw, there is nothing like this out there. No other PHP framework or CMS or nobody has this. They still all use regex. And this is not all. HTML tag processor has its bigger sibling. It's HTML processor, and this sibling is more capable and useful for querying based on nested HTML structures. Unlike the tag processor, this processor is aware of closing tags. It will support wrapping and unwrapping tags. It will support removing and inserting nodes, reading and changing the inner HTML, as well as navigating up and around the structure. Now that's mind-blowing, but this is still not optimized, so it will be, it's on the roadmap, but at this point it's not really performant. And what about performance? When we parse the whole pages and do something on the fly, performance is a very reasonable question. Like I said, WordPress has a very serious performance team, and they're doing an amazing job on every release. And they did extensive testing of HTML tag processor, and their finding is that pragmatch is faster than HTML tag processor and always will be. But pragmatch is unreliable, it is prone to errors and breaking your markup, which is why WordPress core never used it. WordPress core used prag split, and what it does, it goes through the string that you pass to it, some kind of HTML, it applies the pattern that you defined, and then everything that is split, all those pieces, put in an array and then returns this array. So first of all, it was doing badly those, selecting the pieces, even though a bit more reliable than pragmatch, but still not reliable enough, but it was much slower. So this means that all the places in core that we replaced with tag processor are actually now faster and making WordPress core faster. And what else you can do with this beautiful gem? Well, I created a repository, WordPress Gems for Devs, where you can find all the things that I talked about. So here you can find all the reference links, and here are examples. You can add or remove classes. You can set aspect ratio for an iframe with PHP. Then you can add in the size attributes for images that sometimes misses. You can add lazy loading for images, and you can even put this in tests. So you can test your code if it has all the accessibility attributes it needs and all the other attributes that you really might need. Then there is this little fella, it's built by someone else, a table of contents generator, completely built with processor. There is no demo, but you can learn a lot just by looking at that example. And when we talk about learning a lot, I learned a lot about functionality just by reading the tests for tag processor. I wholeheartedly recommend you go there. And if you're interested in tag processor roadmap, the future of development, there is a issue that is dedicated for that. Read the documentation, and also it is much more in detail explained here in this introduction for HTML API. So that's all about HTML API I wanted to talk today. And there is another recurring problem in WordPress that I also wanted to talk about today. I started working with WordPress in 2009. It was a problem then, and it is a problem now. And I'm talking about that JavaScript hot mess on the front end. Every plugin loading their own version of jQuery and their custom scripts on every single page, and we thought that was too much, but then we got Gutenberg, right? And did we show the world that React is yet another JavaScript library we can be weird in? There was no standard for either writing Gutenberg blocks or custom behaviors on the front end. It was all just make it work until the next release. And over the years, building blocks has matured, and now we have this standardized script for creating blocks, and we are used to it, and it's great. It's bringing, you know, some kind of structure. How do you think? How do you build? And since WordPress 6.5, we are getting something to fix that JavaScript hot mess on the front end, and it's Interactivity API. We didn't have to wait for long. Interactivity API brought us another standard to create interactive blocks, and now we are going to see what it does. So I'm gonna use again terminal to create blocks, but I'm gonna use this script. And unlike WP CLI, NPM scripts are not aware in which folder you are and where they should build things, so you have to really go there, content plugins, and when you are using a terminal to do stuff and you want to repeat the command that you did last time with exactly the same parameters, what you can do is add just add a exclamation mark and npx, the command that you ran last time, and it will repeat completely the same command. Now it will probably take some time because we are online. So what you can see here is that a create block interactive template is actually a template for create block script. And okay, so it's starting. The block slug used for identification. This is the plugin name. So this will create a plugin and the block inside of it. And because this plugin, actually this block is only the toggle, I'm gonna call it just toggle. And namespace. Now this is very important in block world. WP gems, it should be important in our PHP world, but not yet. We'll get there. Description, we don't have a time. Dash icon, I always like to add caret, I don't know why. Now I don't want to customize, but I'm gonna type yes because I want you to see what's happening. So there is a homepage for plugin and current version and plugin author and the license info, translation info, custom URI, and that's it. And now it will take a little time to install everything. So as I said, when I first tried this template, I was pretty disappointed. It was just a toggle, and you know, toggle can and should be always created with just HTML. You shouldn't ever use JavaScript to create toggle. And now we have a toggle to showcase the whole API that is so powerful, and it's amazing, and you just get the simple toggle. So we are not gonna stop. I'm gonna spice it up. We're not gonna stop on this one block. We're gonna add another one, but first let's wait for this one to finish. I really wish this was faster because I'm out of stories for when scripts are running. Maybe it will. I wonder if there is an easier way to actually faster way to do this. I was thinking maybe installing it previously and having the scripts or node modules, I don't know. But we'll just have to wait. While we wait, let's see if we have any files already here. Yeah, we have files, so we can talk about it until it's building. So what it does, what it does here is just register the block from metadata, and metadata is found in build. When it says metadata, it means block JSON file, and the block JSON file that is in build folder is actually completely the same as the one in source folder, and we still don't have that. Okay, we have it now. So it's just copy pasted to the block folder. And what is important here, we see supports and interactivity is true. That is important. Then for interactivity API, this file view.js is important. It will hold all the JavaScript logic. It will hold the store that is used for this interactivity for this block. And why does it close? And another important file is this render.php, which means that this is a dynamic block. This is not static one. We don't have save function. We have only edit.js, which is for the editor, and render, which is for the front end. So let's see what we have here. In render, for interactivity, the first thing you see here is this data WP interactive, and here is our namespace. This is the first time we say it here. And then we have context, and this is amazing. You see, this is PHP function. So we can set initial context, initial state of the block with PHP. This is one of powerful things that interactivity API is doing. And we say that is open is false on the start, on the beginning. Then we have data WP watch, and we have callbacks. Log is open. So this is where our callbacks are defined, and this log is open. What it does is it gets the open from get context, and if it's true, it will be true here. If it's false, it will be. So the true false is managed somewhere else. Everything that this callback does is just console it. If it's true or false, it doesn't matter. It console all of that. Then we have the button, and this button is connected with a paragraph by using these area controls. So it has unique ID. This one has the same ID. So this is watching this ID. They are connected, and button has here data WP bind, and it watches the area expanded. When it's expanded, then context is true. Otherwise, this paragraph says when paragraph is hidden, then the context is open is false. So that's how we get this true false. And what will trigger all of that? So you have data WP on, and then these are like additional parameters that you can, and this is really, you can pass here about any event like you have in JavaScript. So this is the directive, that data WP on, and it will trigger action. This action here is toggle, and what it does, it gets the context and then it changes is open to the opposite, just usual JavaScript stuff. So this is it. That's how it works. Honestly, too much stuff for a simple toggle, but it showcases what it does. And what we need to do here is plugin activate. Activate just toggle. And now let's take a look what we have. Let's make another post. And while I'm showing you this, I'm gonna run another plugin because we are going to do this. We are going to connect two blocks. So I'm gonna run this just not to waste time. Okay, add new post. Wow, this is so much slower than I practiced. Toggle. And we are gonna add just toggle and publish. Let's see what this is doing. Okay, so the second one, I'm just gonna go, sorry for switching between, but I don't want to waste time on installing. So the second one we are going to use to count how many times we open the toggle. So I'm gonna call it count toggle, and I'm gonna use the same namespace. You will soon know why. The description, don't care, and we're gonna say no. Okay, let's let it go. So let's see what we have done here. Have we clicked it? Yes. And this is it. This is the toggle. We have to wait for it to load completely. Okay, this is toggle. You click on it, it's open. You click on it again, it's closed. And it's also logging all of that in console log. Wow, this is not done yet. So let's see how the console log looks like. Maybe I should have just have them installed. Okay, so you see here, this is what we have from the callback in Vue.js. When you click open, false, open true, false is for closed, and that's it. Okay, you're still running. Let's close this up and see if we have any files just yet. Yeah, we have something. We have source but not build yet. So this is exactly the same as the previous one, and I'm afraid now we will have to wait for this to finish. Now if you have any questions so far, this will be a good moment to kind of spend time on, not to wait for scripts to install. No one? Everything is clear? Okay, yeah, we're done soon. Compiling, yeah. Whenever you take a break from coding, you just say it's compiling. And
Hello, Milana.
hi.
This is very brave, not just live coding, but live.
Uh-huh.
installing and everything else. Oh, it's done it. Is it done?
Yeah, it's done it. Yeah, it's done.
All right. I was just about to ask the questions, but we can leave it now. It can carry on.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can.
Right.
You can ask it at the end. Okay. So I'm gonna activate this count toggle plugin. All right, and we're just gonna add it to this post, and then we can start modifying things. And if I remember correctly, I didn't call the plugin count toggle. I think I left it default, which is then probably, yeah, example interactive. Okay. Are we saved? All right. And all right, now we have two blocks exactly the same. And another thing I'm going to do now is I'm gonna go to just toggle and run npm run start, so that we can have them build while modifying. And I'm gonna go to count toggle and do the same thing, run start, so we don't have to go back and rebuild everything, because everything we change, it will need rebuilding. So we are in count toggle, and from here what I want to remove to make it usable before we even start adding things to it, I'm gonna remove this. I'm not gonna need that. I'm also going to remove this button. We are not going to need it. Therefore, I'm not going to need any of this. I'm not gonna need callback or the context. This is what I'm going to need, and I don't need this. And instead of this, what I want to do is just say the toggle has been opened X times, right? I don't want anything else. So this is the simple block, and we want to make sure that every time we open this first toggle, that we update this value here. So first we have to have the initial value, and we can use, as I already said, we can use the state, PHP state for that. So I'm gonna say state WP interactivity state. And this is amazing. You can add any dynamic value there. So first thing what we need is namespace, WP gems. This is when you tell it where to look for, you know, the store, for the callbacks and actions and all of that. So now we can define the second parameter is an array of parameters that we want to use. So I'm just gonna say times toggled equals to 0 at this moment. And now to access that value here, I'm gonna replace this X with HTML tag, any tag. Spag is not a tag, but maybe it is, I don't know. Span, And why I need this? I need to add a directive here, so that's why I need the HTML tag. And the directive is data WP text. Now I'm not making these up. You cannot use just I'm gonna use this. You have to know there is a list of available tags that you can use, available directives, I'm sorry. So data WP text will say, take the value from this, what I'm watching here, and represent it as a text in this tag. So what I'm watching here is this times toggle, and I'm taking that times toggles from the state. So I say state and the value from the state, and that's it. This is really all that it takes to set the initial value. And now we have 0. Awesome. So what we want to do now is to update this value every time when the button is clicked. No, every time when the is open is true. So every second time the button is clicked. And now this is where I had a lot of problems. I was thinking about it for 2 days. I was trying different things. And the thing is, when we first started working with blocks, we had this mindset of WordPress is this organism, and everything is connected. And then the blocks became these independent items that are not aware of anything that's happening on the page, not even the things that are next to it. And that was very difficult to grasp. But then we finally grasped it, and now they're telling us, well, now you can have them connected. They can see each other. So how they can see each other? And I was looking at this, where is it? Just toggle. I was looking at what is available in its render, and it was the context. And I wanted to get this value there, and I couldn't. And later on, when I actually read documentation, I found out why I couldn't. So the context is actually the local state. And I thought that when you say local, it means in the same namespace, but it doesn't. When you say local, that is local to this node. So context as a state is available only to this node and its children. And that's why I couldn't get to it. But there is something that is called global state, and global state is are values that we can share between blocks in the same namespace right away. We can share it with between blocks with different namespace, but then you have to call the store, and that's a different story. But within the same namespace, it's available right away. So what I needed to do is not to think about this file at all. I was supposed to go to the file, to the place in code where I already have this info that I need. And what I need is right here in this callback. Here I have this is open. It's either false or true, but this callback knows about that. So I needed to do my stuff here. And when you would do it with simple vanilla JavaScript, you would do it something like this. You would say, if this is true, then there is this, I don't know, count opened. You would say plus plus, right? And that's it. You would just add it to the value. And I'm gonna console log here to check if it's working. So it's opened. That many times. And to avoid this being undefined or not a number, this is what you would do in vanilla JavaScript, right? So let's see if it's working. When I open console and I toggle, come on. Okay, open. So here it is opened 1 times, and then close and open 2 times. So this is working. And now I just need to find out how to send this data, this value, to the state. And this is how you do it. Then I looked at documentation and other examples. So you say constant state. I wish this was in default setting. So all of this I can send to state, and what I have in state here is this value times toggled. So I'm gonna copy it, and here I'm gonna replace this count opened to state and times toggled. Now I don't need this one. And let's close this up. Reload, and when I toggle, it's still loading. Okay, so toggle 1 time, closed, 2 times, closed. This was amazing. This was mind-blowing to me. Like this, just this line, assuming that I have this in state, this is all it needed. Do you know how much code there is needed to actually connect without interactivity API to do this? This was really like mind-blowing to me. And then of course I wanted to do more things. I wanted to add stuff in this view as well, right? Why wouldn't I? And I wanted to change something on the front end when the first time it's open. So to kind of have this, to watch this event when only the first time is opened. So I wanted just to add a class. So data, WP class, and I will let the CSS to handle the change. And now when you add a class, you actually say to the, so you see you have double dash here, and you define which class will be added. So I'm gonna say has been opened, and this class will be added to this wrapper when this value is true, and the value will be has been opened, just to make it simple. False. So for now it's false, but when it's going to be, when it's true, then we are going to watch the state and it will add this class. So let me add this class to CSS so we can see it in real time. Let's say background, I don't know, violet, something like that. And it seems that I didn't save this file. Okay, so now we have that handled. We have added the directive, we defined the initial state, we added what it should look like, and now we have to add the actual behavior. So first of all, again, I need state here. And what you saw in previous view, you saw the actions and callbacks. The third thing that you can have here is the actual state. And the state can be defined like a constant, we have here, just define the value that is going to go with this parameter, but you can also set the getters, and that's what we are going to do now. I'm gonna say get and then give it the same name as here. And this should return when is the first time that it is clicked and that it is open. So how do we know this? Well, we have this value that is counting how many times it is toggled. But until it's toggled for the first time, the value is 0. So what we can do, we can watch this value and say return state times toggled larger than 0. When it's larger than 0, then it's true, otherwise it's false, and that means that when this is returned true, our class should be added. And let's see if that's going to happen. Right, it's violet and it stays violet. Okay, so but what if I want to add something that will be only on when it's open, right? I'm gonna add another class, and we're gonna set first the state here. So is open. It doesn't matter that it's called the same as in context. They're different values. False. And here I'm gonna duplicate this and just say here is open, and the class will be is open. All right, and for the class, what we will do, let's say we add some content after it. So content will be opened, and display block position relative. Okay, this will do. So where do we add this? Well, where it makes the most logic to add it. Obviously here I don't have that info. I don't know when it's open, when it's closed. I only have the info if it's opened once, so I don't want to go there and replicate the code and duplicate and all of this. But here I have this info available in both places. I can choose wherever I want. So for example, I can add here something like this. State is open equals is open. So this is the other open is open. It's this one from the context. And that's it. Now we should get the the result as soon as it's loaded. So when we, okay, loaded, when we click on it, yay, it's opened. When we close it, opened is removed. Opened, not opened. And just to make the point, you know, we can I can put it here and say state is open equals to context is open, and it will still work. And what does that mean? Well, it means that there are many different ways that you can do this, and I love this. I love that in coding, that you can do stuff in million different ways, and you really have to think what is the most performant, what is the most logical, what is, you know, the best practice, and why. You really have to understand how it works to make it the best possible you can. So enough of showing off. What is Interactivity API? It's a standard. That is the most important thing. We have to think about it as a standard. It's standard system of directives for adding interactivity to blocks on the front end, and it contains two important parts. First are directives, as I said. So directives are added in markup, and there is a list of accepted directives that you can use. They can be added, so you can see here it can be hard-coded, but it can also be added by the PHP to be dynamic. It can be defined in Vue.js, but then it will need that, it will lose the speed, it will need that file to be loaded. So this is the most efficient way to add context as initial state, either by hard coding it if you know the value, if it's always going to be the value, or having dynamic value from the server side. And then the second part is this store. Store can have state, it can be global. So global states are shared between blocks in the same namespace. They're shared right away. In different namespace, you actually have to call the store from different namespace, and then you have that available. But that is the state. The global state is available globally. The context, which is local, is available only to this node where it's defined and to its children. So don't forget that. And there is derived state. This is the state after some changes, as we did with counting. This is after some kind of interactivity happened, then we derived and changed this state. Then what we have, actions. Actions are usually triggered by data WP on directive, and then you add to it what are you watching, what on, is it select, is it click, is it something other that I cannot think of right now. Then we have callbacks, and callbacks are usually triggered by data WP callback or data WP init, or as we saw, data WP callback, a watch. So you should really take a look at the documentation and see what is available there, not to miss something. So what is it built on? For the HTML processor, we saw it's built completely from zero, completely custom. This is not. This is built on Preact. So not React, it is Preact, and it is very performant, especially with the signals. So this is combined Preact with signals, and it's handling this JavaScript part. It's hydration of data, it's client logic, it's client-side navigation. It is highly performant, and it is extremely extensible. That is why it was used. It is also HTML very friendly. Then what we have is directives. And these directives can be understood by both, by client and the server, and that's why it's very neat and important for us. And what is also important for WordPress is that you can handle things with PHP, so it supports the hook system that we rely on so much. And the last thing that is there, so the server side logic, there is WP directive processor, which is handled by HTML tag processor. So we wouldn't have interactivity API as it is right now, and it probably wouldn't have that many attributes in actually directives in a front end if it wasn't using the tag processor. So which problems does this solve? Well, first, the compatibility with PHP. We want this so much to have the ability to get things from the server and then serve them, not to use the blocks and JavaScript just like a dummy demo for something. We want to use the real data. Then the problem of inter-block connectivity. This was very difficult before interactivity API, and now you see it's just like one line of code and it's done. And the third important problem that is fixed by this is the site-wide features from the client side. So imagine when you click on navigation links, you change the page, but nothing reloads. You actually have the only loaded the content of it. And why is this? Where can this be very helpful? Well, maybe you have something like, for example, video is running. Somebody press play and there is video, and they change the page because they want to browse, and you can have this video running, still after they change the page. So that could be, a very good feature. And so when I'm talking about that, that is actually an example. And again, I have in my repository the list of examples and all the things we talked about today. Well, I talked about. Here are the reference. Documentation is also very well written, and there is a lot of content there, so you should definitely go and read it. This is the movie demo. I'm not gonna open it now because it's very slow internet, but you can take a look at it. And this is the demo that actually was created for proposing interactivity API to get into the core. And that's a very simplified replica of Netflix, and it's very, very cool. Then there is Countdown example, which is fun but not production ready, especially when the times come to 0. There are weird things, but it's fun. You can see how those things can be done, like just measuring time. Then we have instant search, so you can filter things. We used to do that with Ajax. Now you don't have to. You have interactivity API and to-do list, which is mandatory for every library, right? So there is a to-do list, and it's very cool. And also there is a complete discussion dedicated to the showcase, what people have been built with it. It's very nice. You can go there if you're interested in roadmap, in development. You can follow this GitHub issue. There's also a proposal that is very big. It has a lot of details, and you can find there a list of all directives. Also, there are discussions and breaking changes in Interactivity API, so make sure to follow them, because Interactivity API is still in development phase. Some things can be used in production, but there you should expect breaking changes at this point, so do follow that. And there are a lot of learning resources available already. And Interactivity API in WordPress is we're not the first ones who have that, like HTML API. We are inspired by Laravel with the Livewire, And the Laravel was inspired by Symfony, which was inspired by Phoenix. So it's interesting that at the same time, approximately, we all found this need to connect server and the client and to use the real data, but really have like cool interactive websites that now we have only with some JavaScript models, you know, with headless CMS and everything. So now we can have that too. And even though we are inspired by them, our is completely different because we are using HTML API as a one component, important component for it. And this was kind of long, but that's pretty much it what I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and do look out for the next WordPress release because it might have a gem for you. For those who haven't met me, I'm Milana Cap, WordPress engineer at XWP and Toptal. I'm also one of the loudest members of the documentation team, and I'm also a member of plugin review team, classical musician, and if you want to talk about any of that, you can contact me here. I had so much fun, and thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks, Milana. I think we've got a couple of minutes. Are there any questions for what Milana's got to say? Stony silence. I'm interested. I did a podcast player, like media player, like, and that's one of the interests that I've got with the interactivity API because
Yes.
it had like a playlist block and you know, the actual player block and stuff, and they needed to communicate. You know, it could sync up with transcripts and stuff like that, which you wouldn't have been able to do before. Have you done? Have you been able to use it yet in any you know, serious projects or anything?
No, not yet, unfortunately. That's when I find something that is very interesting to me and I don't have a project for it, I create a talk because I want to work something on that. So no, not yet, but I'm you know, selling the idea to XWP.
So no questions. I think it's already part of core, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
It is.
The question was whether it was going to be a plugin or whether you could use it already.
It is already in core.
Yep. So it's all there. So yeah, I'll post the links to the GitHub repo and stuff like that in the on the meetup page so that people have got it. So that's great. And yeah, as I say, Milana, thanks so much. That was very brave doing live coding, live package installing, everything else. Go and have a well-deserved beverage of your choice. So yeah. And if you're ever in Brighton, you know, if you're ever in the UK again, you know, please come to Brighton and see us. Like, it would be great to catch up in person.
Well, I hope you have. I heard you have a beer and pizza, and Ollie's there. I want to meet him. So
yeah. yeah. Brilliant. All right. Thanks very much. Once again, thanks for Milana.
Bye. Okay.
If you fancy it, I think we're going to go to the pub. It's like, which is we went to the Walrus before, and it's easy. It's just through the alleyway, like so we can go there. What else do I need to tell you? Next week is social. We're still alternating between socials. Sorry, next month is a social, which is the 1st of October, I think. It's the first Tuesday again. Probably be at the Caxton because I'm lazy. And then the month after that, we're back here for another speaker event. I can't tell you exactly what that'll be yet, but you know, it will happen, and you know, things are in the pipeline. So yeah, hope to see you then. Thanks for coming, and let's go down the pub.